Find out who the fire department and the LAPD are targeting at a special recruitment expo in Studio City. And wise up on the fate of wild animals who have become accustomed to interacting with humans when we visit a special animal rehabilitation facility on this edition of Out and About. Something tells me this is a raccoon.
Well, yes, you're absolutely correct. This is a raccoon. Its genus name is Procyon lotor. These are actual omnivores. They eat mice. They can eat berries, bark, leaves, just about anything. They're opportunistic animals, so whatever's available at the time, they'll actually feast on.
I saw him playing with this little container earlier. I guess you put a treat inside there to demonstrate something. What was it that you were trying to show us?
What we're trying to show is basically, people think raccoons are so sweet. Well, they can get into just about anything. And they do have a thumb, not as opposable like humans, but they do have a thumb which makes them able to twist off jars, open trash can lids, and whatnot. People think they're safe just because they hear a snap on a trash can lid, and of course they're not. They can actually get into just about anything. People have them in their house and they think they're cute till they come home from work one day and everything in their house is opened, everything is taken out and spread out on the floor. And that's when they realize, oh, well, he doesn't make a good pet. And then
maybe that's why they call him Bandit.
That's exactly.
They thought they had a thief in the house and it turned out to be the raccoon.
Exactly. But that's one of the things we encourage is don't bring these guys into your house, because then, when you get sick of them, we bring them here, and chances are, a lot of times we're not able to revert them back into the wild.
Located near Lake Arrowhead, California, in the town of Cedar Glen, Wild Haven Ranch offers refuge to indigenous birds and mammals, many of which can never be released back into the wild as a result of previous interaction with humans.
Wild Haven Ranch is a rehabilitation facility, a project of the San Bernardino Mountains Wildlife Society. We rehabilitate, that is, put back into the wild, between 200 and 400 injured and orphaned indigenous animals each and every year. We have about 20 animals that will never go back out into the wild because they don't have the skills to make it. This is a very difficult project to do. There are hundreds, literally, of rehabilitators in Southern California. As a matter of fact, rehabilitators saved over 80,000 animals in the state of California last year.
Now, by rehabilitators, you mean individuals?
Individuals and organizations such as this. We are licensed by the California Department of Fish and Game, the Federal Department of Fish and Wildlife, the United States Department of Agriculture, and we are all trained by the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. If you don't have those licenses, it is illegal for you to keep wild animals in your care.
That's because of Fish and Game and their rules, or what?
Fish and Game and the rules. The wild animals literally belong to the state of California, so you need the state's permission to keep them. Plus, they are dangerous and shouldn't be kept by anyone but a trained person.
Covering 35 acres in Cedar Glen, Wild Haven was started in 1994 and is operated by a nonprofit organization, the San Bernardino Mountains Wildlife Society. One of its residents is a mule deer fawn named Faylene. The baby deer was at one time a family pet, but was soon abandoned by its owner after it became too big to care for.
Feline is this year's deer. That means she was probably born in March, so she's 9 to 10 months old. She's losing her spots. You can see the babies all have their spots, and her spots are slowly disappearing. So she'll be almost near adult size by the winter, so she'll be able to keep warm in the snow.
Now, all deer don't lose their spots, is that right?
All deer lose their spots.
They do?
They have spots as a child, and as an adult, they'll be just one plain tawny color.
Why are they called mule deer?
Because they have big ears like a mule and a black nose just like the mule. So, in fact, those ears are a very important part of her defense system. She uses them to find if there's predators coming or any kind of trouble out in the forest. And of course, today is a difficult day for her because it is windy and that destroys the acoustics of the forest. And so she feels unarmed when she goes outside, and it makes her very nervous. We'd be able to release her back into the wild if we had some conspecifics. Conspecific is a fancy word that means if we had some more mule deer to raise her with, we could teach her how to be a deer and be part of a herd animal. Right now, we have no other deer, so there is no herd for her to learn how to be a deer. So she'll forever be an educational animal in captivity.
Feline is one of numerous animals that find their way to Wild Haven and are hampered by a condition preventing them from a safe return to the wild.
Well, for our animals, human habituated means that they're used to man providing their food and shelter. Out in the wild, that would mean that she wouldn't have the skills because there aren't people providing for her. She was human habituated when we got her. In fact, most of our young animals are. If they're not human habituated, we can usually raise them up and put them back into the wild. But normally people have stolen them for pets and take them home and think they're going to be a pet, and then they realize this isn't going to work. So once she's human habituated, she's very hard to unhuman habituate. In fact, in many cases, it can't be done at all.
Other non-releasable animals at Wild Haven include birds like Wolfie, the red-tailed hawk. Melody is an American kestrel, the smallest member of the falcon family.
She is one of our residents here at Wild Haven. She came to us with a metabolic bone disease, which actually deteriorated her eye socket, so she's actually blind in one eye. So she has no sight at all in that eye, so she has no ability to hunt.
Does that mean that she can't be released into the wild?
She can never be released back into the wild because without having sight in both eyes, she's unable to get a perspective on her prey. So without that ability, she wouldn't be able to hunt it in the wild, and she would end up being prey herself.
Where does she normally live?
Actually, American kestrels are found pretty much all over in Southern California and other parts of the United States. She's quite common. She's actually a member of the falcon family.
What about her name? Has she been named?
Her name is Melody. All of our kestrels actually had a musical name, so we always kept with the kind of musical theme. We had jazz and harmony and melody. And one of our release kestrels his name was Marley, after Bob Marley. So we try to keep with the musical theme with the smaller birds.
Do you have a Michael Jackson bird?
Oh, no, not yet. I'm sure, eventually we will. we'll run out. So, but she's actually a fantastic bird. We've actually trained her how to sit on the glove, something that we've done working with her. Actually, I've done my training with Diane. So she's just an excellent educational bird.
The red-tailed hawk named Wolfie made his way to Wild Haven after escaping from his previous owner.
He was actually a falconer's bird, and that's how we got him. Wolfie got away from his handler. A falconer is a man that raises birds in order to hunt, birds of prey actually, and uses them to hunt. I know falconer kind of throws a lot of people off because Wolfie is a hawk, not a falcon, but hawks are very common in the falconry trade. So he actually got away from his handler, flew down to somebody, and she actually noticed that he had these are called anklets, that he had these anklets on and these straps that are called jesses. And she figured that a bird in the wild wouldn't have straps or things attached to his feet, and then he hopped right over to her, and she didn't know what to do, so she called us, and that's how we got him. So,
Kind of like an escaped convict might have chains, huh?
actually, yes, he was an escapee. So, but it was the falconer's loss because Wolfie is an excellent bird, excellent educational bird. You get to see his wings all the time. He's very good.
When we return, we'll meet the magnificent Lexus, Wildhaven's resident bobcat, and we'll learn what bare necessities are required to care for the facility's largest residents when Out and About continues.
They just swoop down and grab what they want.
Yeah, they're known as silent killers. They can actually, in the snow, like there could be 3 feet of snow, and they can hear a mouse under that 3 feet of snow. When they glide, or when they actually attack, they glide, and they can't hear. You can't hear them at all. If you took one of their feathers from their wings and brushed it up and down, from an eagle or a hawk, you would hear a sound. From one of their primary feathers, you wouldn't hear a sound at all.
This owl has great hearing, obviously.
Yes, does have great hearing. It's great. It's named great horned owl for the tufts that you see on the top of his head. Although those have nothing to do with hearing. His hearing, though, is very exquisite. Their ears are actually offset a little bit, so that they can hear. That helps their hearing even more.
With big eyes like that, I've got to ask you, how is their vision?
Their vision's very great, but they still rely a lot on their hearing when they hunt and when they are actually watching out for predators.
I'm looking at his feet. Are those talons, claws, or what do we call them?
Yes, those are talons. You'll notice the fur on his feet that's actually a defense mechanism. If he's going at something like a snake or something and it lifts up to bite him, the fur on his feet actually helps him from getting cuts on under his skin and stuff like that.
It's a beautiful creature. Is it as wise as it looks?
No, actually, they're not the very smartest birds on the planet, although they do hunt mainly by instinct, and they sit in the tree all day. They've been known to wade in water looking for frogs and stuff. They just basically sit there. They look majestic, but don't let them fool you. They're not as smart as they look.
Not the royalty we had hoped for.
Exactly.
Continuing Out and About's coverage of Wildhaven Ranch, we find ourselves touring the nonprofit rehabilitation facility in Cedar Glen, California. Among the magnificent menagerie of animals is a bobcat, a wild feline indigenous to the area.
He's called Lexus because he's fast, he's beautiful, he's powerful, and he's very expensive. He eats 20 mice a day, and that's very expensive to feed.
Well, from what I've seen, he appears to be tame, but of course that's not the case, right?
Absolutely not. He knows me, and he has 4 other handlers that he has adopted as his sisters. They come once a week, and they play with him. But I train him, and I'm sort of the disciplinarian, so he listens to me a lot more.
You're the authority, huh?
Yes.
But I think that's kind of cheating because you raised him from a little kitten, right?
Yes, we got him in at 4 weeks. His eyes had just opened by the time we got him. And Fish and Game gave him to us as an educational animal. They said they would put him down because he was non-releasable, and if we didn't take him as educational, they would have to put him down. And I took one look at him, and I fell in love with him, and I said, I'll take him.
Well, you must have been happy about that, having saved his life.
I think so, and he's got the personality and the love of all of his handlers, and he looks forward to interaction every day, which is very rare for a bobcat. Usually when you see him, you'll see them sleeping or hiding.
Here, Darlene displays a pair of baby flying squirrels, both of which are destined for release into the wild.
They actually have a membrane that comes out on the side, and it's black, and it actually gives them the little parachute that they need to glide from one area to another, or one tree to another.
Were these found in the Lake Arrowhead area?
Yes, they are. They were brought to the mountains about 50 years ago by mistake, and they have just multiplied, and they are all over our mountain now. And they are not like gray squirrels at all. They don't have the